and then get started.
Saraswathi, I suggest you get started.
All right, sure. Thank you so much for joining. And today we will talk about a special program that Women Who Code Hyderabad is launching for enabling women on a career break to come back to work. But before we do that, definitely I would want to spend some time on what Women Who Code is, what we do, and then what are some of the other things apart from this return to work program. So Women Who Code is a not-for-profit organization, and then the objective is to inspire more women to take up technology careers and then excel in them. So that's our mission that you see out there. And our vision is to see a world where diverse women are better represented as engineers and tech leaders. I know there's a lot more to do for all of us in this space, because as we move up the ladder in the technology career space, we do see that there is waning of women representation there. So that's definitely something that we care about at Women Who Code. And in terms of the code of conduct, absolutely, it's a very inclusive community. And yes, Women Who Code is for all those folks who care about more women representation, which means that it's open for all genders and request all of you to participate and then, further the objectives that this community has. And, the community itself is very inclusive, and there is zero tolerance towards any kind of discrimination basis, anything, right? Whether it's religion, sex, caste, sexual orientation or whatever. So the impact that we want to create through Women Who Code is, one is upskilling and cross-skilling, and then the getting women back to work program. We'll talk more about it in some time. And then the third aspect is support and mentor women in early technology careers, providing a lot of opportunities, understanding about various hackathons or other scholarships or other related information. In fact, for Hyderabad chapter, we have 3 directors, Renu, Baani, and me. So Renu takes care of the mid-senior track, and she arranges a lot of leadership talks, tech leadership talks, where people can benefit. And usually this is, I would say, more beneficial for the mid-senior track. And then Baani, she takes care of the STEM related things, which is what early technology careers is all about. And then I take care of this particular track is something that I'm driving, which is getting women back to work through providing experience for hands-on trainings, and then technical mentoring, so enabling them to come back to work. So that's about all 3 of us, and looking forward to more and more signups on our meetup page, because this is a young chapter and need a lot of sponsorship and support here. So like I said, technology, innovation, leadership, these are 3 pillars of what we do, and more to come on each of these spaces. Please do watch out the Women Who Code page and the meetup page for more and more events. This is how the meetup page looks like, and please do socialize this with all your friends too. So before I talk about women returning to work and all that stuff, I just want to take a step back. And this is something very close to my heart, right? So, in fact, very recently I was reading this article by Uma Shashikant, who is the chairperson for Center for Investment Learning across India. And then she was kind of talking about how it is so important to have diversity at every walk of life. And she was also saying sometimes it might be just romanticizing, but then imagine a world where there were more women key decision makers, right? So maybe there wouldn't be so much of climate related problems, the global warming, or the kind of ingredients that go into fast food today, or the kind of decisions that we make across several walks of life. These all could be better balanced perhaps if we have just more women representation at all levels. I think that's while it might sound very strange or romanticizing, but I think there is truth in what is said. I think diversity at all walks definitely helps us stay balanced. And then it is a proven fact that the revenue that an organization makes, and then the kind of diverse clients that every organization handles today, it is very, very important to have a diverse and inclusive workforce. So, but then if you really look at the key stats for women employment in India, while 48% population is women, it's only 19% that are actually represented in the total labor force. And again, total labor force actually includes unorganized sector too. And because of the pandemic, that would have been impacted so much. So I really don't know how much would be the actual number for the representation in the formal sector, right? And coming back to just IT alone, 34% of the IT workforce is women, which I think is a good number. Let's not deny that. I think 34% is big enough compared to that 19% that we are seeing over there. But is it good enough? Perhaps not. I think there is definitely opportunity to do more there. And recent trends definitely indicate that labor force participation rate of women is declining, and then it has fallen significantly in the last couple of years, and the pandemic has only exacerbated the whole thing, right? And then if you look at typical reasons women do take a break, it could be maternity, for providing care for elderly in the family, providing family care, whatever it is. Sometimes we all need that break, and yes, there are several men too who have to do it. For the purpose of this discussion, this would be for women who have taken a career break, right? And then definitely statistics have shown that for women who have taken a break, coming back to the workforce is not so easy, right? While the intent is there, the talent is there, definitely there is a platform that is needed. So which is what Women Who Code Hyderabad is trying to bring that platform. So with that, let me introduce this program to all of you, which is called RISE, Reboot, Invest, Scale, and Empower Yourself. So that's what we want all women who are on a career break to do. And this is more about enabling women that we will do. And let's go through some basic stuff, right? Who can apply? Anybody can apply. And while yes, this program is coined for Hyderabad, but then currently we are all remote and all the sessions are going to be virtual. So I would say pretty much anybody in India can apply, right? And then this is more for people who are women who are on a career break. So the minimum break assumed is 6 months. And expectation is that the person who is joining this program should have a laptop or any such personal device that would help in going through the trainings or the technical mentoring that we all would be providing. So the objective is to host training programs on several technologies, and we didn't want to make it too broad based because we really want to tie it back into a wholesome thing, right? So, for example, Renu is working on the mid-senior track, and as part of that, we have had several connects with several IT leaders in the industries, and then in the industry. And so when we have this population of trained folks, we definitely want to enable door opening for them in all those organizations, and then be able to point out certain opportunities. So with that in mind, we have kind of picked up 3 or 4 skills or 3 or 4 technology groups, which is Hadoop, Java, .NET, and testing. For all these 4 groups, we have created those comprehensive pathways. There has been a very active volunteering group, and we have had several volunteers who have signed up to provide these trainings to the folks who are signing up for this. And there are also mentors and then experts who would help folks manage on how to prepare for an interview, right? Because this would all be a little hazy after. So that's the whole objective here. And then the schedule would be like 2 to 4 hours a week. And then we plan to start this program somewhere around 18th October, and it would be for 6 to 8 weeks. Again, team, this is like nothing is cast in stone here. For example, if we see several women who are interested in, say, a Python or a data sciences, they're absolutely open to, creating a new pathway for it. Or if they think that, hey, 2 to 4 hours per week is maybe less, I can, maybe earmark more time, absolutely we can do it. So these are all just initial thoughts and what we want to do, but obviously it's the power of the group which will decide which direction we want to go in, how do we engage more, and how do we give more, right? So that's the whole intent. With that, I'll maybe hand it over to Hari now. He will take us through, some details of the pathways. So, or maybe let's do this. Let's pause here, hear from the group in terms of any questions, initial questions on the program itself, and then maybe we'll spend some time on what we are looking at from a curriculum perspective for all these 4 tracks that we spoke about. Any questions? I think you can just unmute yourself and ask, or if you want to use the chat window, you can do that too. Okay, while people are thinking through it, Hari, why don't you go ahead and, talk about, the different pathways.
Definitely. Thank you, Saraswathi. Am I audible, Saraswathi?
You are.
Thank you. Good evening, all. This is Hari Krishna Kadipe, one of the volunteers working along with Saraswathi, Renu, and the rest of the Women Who Code Hyderabad chapter. First of all, thanks for providing me this opportunity. And when it comes to these tech tracks, we have come up with 4 different tech tracks, looking into the current market structure and looking into the current market requirement. And basically, they are on testing, Java, .NET, and then on the big data topics, the Hadoop one. So these modules, they will be covered by seasoned trainers, and these trainers are from internal to our company, and they are very much experienced on these technologies. At the same time, they are working on these technologies. So that's how it's going to help the participants on the real-time knowledge, using which they can gain more insights, more information, and more practical scenarios with respect to the tech tracks that we have designed. And at the same time, we have also started working on the content, and the content is ready. And even for some of the tracks, or for all the 4 tracks, we'll be providing the hands-on too. So for testing in Java, we'll be using the personal laptops, and whatever the requisite runtimes that are needed for delivering these 2 tracks, they can be downloaded and configured on the personal laptops. And when it comes to .NET and Hadoop, we need dedicated labs, and we'll be working on it, and it will be supported by the self-sponsorship of the participants. So now let's quickly look into the different modules that are being covered as part of these 4 different tech tracks. So the first one is testing. So when it comes to the testing, we'll be covering the brief introduction to software systems and software development lifecycle, and then the basic concepts on testing techniques, and creating the test plan, test plans, test metrics, guidelines, and usage, and test reporting. And moving on to the 5th module, it will be the user acceptance testing, followed by the quality center, Q test, and case studies. And then in the 6th module, we'll be moving on into automation testing. So we'll look into what are the different basics, factors for choosing any particular tool that are currently available in the market. And at the same time, we are also planning to give an overview with respect to the agile methodology, which is currently in a huge demand in the market. And finally, as Saraswathi has indicated in the very beginning of our opening, these modules are all the 4 modules, the 4 tech tracks which we are targeting to deliver as part of this particular program. They will be having a mentoring program also. So definitely the participants will have the liberty. They can just reach out to the respective trainers, and then they can utilize this mentoring opportunity with respect to the tech tracks that they are willing to participate and complete as part of this particular program. Saraswathi, would you please move on to the next slide? Yep. So now moving on to the programming side, we have come up with a tech track on Java. So as we know, there are a few important technologies which are very much in demand from last 2 decades. One is Java and the other one is the .NET. So keeping in mind with respect to the two technologies, we have come up with Java. So the topics that will be covered as part of the Java technology are introduction to Java, OOPS, basics, and how do we configure the runtime environment with respect to utilizing the JRE and then the JDE, setting up the class path, etc. And then like we'll dig deeper into like what are the different kinds of programming languages with respect to like procedural programming language, object-oriented programming language, and then like configuring the Eclipse IDE, integrated development environment. And then like we'll also take a deeper dive with respect to the Java programming, basically like the core Java, polymorphism, inheritance, exception handling, encapsulation, arrays, scanner, and then the file handling. And then especially like if like when we are working with Java, collections framework is very much important because like it deals with whole object management. And finally, like multi-threading, which is very much critical for any programming language. And how do we really connect to the backend databases using the JDBC and then followed by the JUnit test. And then in the module 4, we'll be covering like the 3-tier architecture, and then we'll be moving on to the servlets and then Java server pages, and then followed by the SOAP web services. And in the 5th module, we'll be focusing on REST services, Java 8 fundamental interfaces, and then followed by Java 8 functional interfaces, Java 8 streams. And even for this module, there will be a dedicated mentoring which will be provided. Okay, now like the most important one, which is in huge demand, that is the big data Hadoop technologies. So as part of this, like we'll be covering the introduction to the big data and Hadoop, HDFS, Hadoop 2.x, Yarn, MapReduce, Hadoop 1.x versus Hadoop 2.x. And then we'll move on to the module 3, which is basically like Hive. So we'll cover the introduction to Hive and then the architecture, different data types, external tables, loading the data, partitioning, bucketing, operations of Hive tables, views, Hive optimization techniques, and use cases. And in the module 4, we'll be covering the scope. So here we will discuss about like connecting scope to other databases, and how do we like really import, do an incremental import or incremental export. So these kind of topics will be covered as part of module 4. And in module 5, we'll dive more onto the Spark. So here we'll cover RDDS transformations and actions, word count problems, Spark SQL, data frames, Spark functions, Windows functions, performance tuning, and then finally followed by the use cases. And in module 6, we plan to cover an overview of Hue, introduction to Impala, differences between Hive and Impala. And again, like in the last module, we plan to do the mentoring. So quickly moving on to the last tech track, that is .NET. So in the .NET, we will be having like introduction to .NET and .NET core framework, types of applications, and how do we set up the Visual Studio, the IDE for the .NET development. And then followed by architecture, CLR, JIT garbage collector, CLR execution model, managed code versus unmanaged code, base class library, type safety, etc. And then quickly into the module 3, we'll be covering C# topics, OOPS fundamentals, class, type system. Again, like the same object-oriented concepts that we will be covering as part of the Java module will be covered here as part of the .NET module. And then in module 4, we'll be covering the ADO.NET topics, the architecture, connection objects, command objects, disconnected architecture, adapters, data sets using stored procedures, SQL parameters. And then the 5th module will be getting started again with the 3-tier architecture, where the web will come into a picture. And here we will be delving into like introduction to the web programming, web services, REST services, WCF, etc. And in module 6, we'll be covering ASP.NET, Web API, ASP.NET, MVC. And finally, like again, we'll be closing this particular tech track with the mentoring. So as I updated in the very beginning, all these tech tracks, they will be delivered by seasoned trainers who got very good experience, real-time experience, and who are already working professionals as part of our company. And it will be like a hands-on experience project or a training module. Okay.
Thank you so much, Hari. Thank you. So now we'll open it up for questions. And, these are some of the channels available. The nomination, people who want to nominate to this program, we would request some minimum details from all of you in terms of which technology track you want to pursue, the break, where were you working earlier, etc. And then, these are other channels, the meetup, which we spoke about earlier, and Twitter, etc. So let me open it up for questions, team. And again, like I said, we have thought about these 3 or 4 technology tracks as of now, but doesn't really stop us from thinking something new too. This is what people would be more keen on, right? So with that, let me open it up for any questions. So I know whenever we have a meetup, event like this, some of us might really be looking for a program like this. Some of us are just curious, to see what Women Who Code is doing, and some of us might want to contribute as volunteers, right? So depending on which group each one of us belongs to, there would be a different kind of questions. So please do engage. If you want to contribute as a volunteer too, welcome. And there is a lot to do on Women Who Code. So, we'd like to hear from you.
Hi, Saraswathi. This is Nandini.
Hi,
I hope
Nandini.
you. Hey, yeah, I joined to see if I can contribute anything here, like as in the training or anything. Like,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great, Nandini. So I think, Hari has also shared a link for all contributors. So please do fill in some of those details there, and we will have you engaged because there is a lot going on. One is, of course, the return to work, but there are several other tracks too, and we could definitely do with some volunteering help. Thanks for reaching out. Any other questions, team?
Hi Nandini, this is Supriya. Hi Saraswati, this is Supriya.
Hey, hi.
Am I audible?
You are, Supriya. Go on.
I have a question. Like once the women who complete they check a pathway, they complete the course, and we provide them a guidance like how to prepare the resume, how to prepare for the interviews. Like, do they have any scope for absorption in the bank?
So there are multiple organizations within Hyderabad, Supriya, that we are looking at. It could be, like I said, there are organizations that we have engaged with for this mid-senior track, and obviously me and Renu are directors at Bank of America. So it's not limited to one, I would say. So there is also some discussion that we have initiated with folks who act as intermediaries, right? So some kind of placement agency, stuff like that. So at this point in time, I would say the opportunity is huge. It's not just one organization. Obviously, we're looking at a bunch of those.
That's great. Yeah, thank you.
So just want to add, Saraswati, thanks for that. So we do have our HR involved, and also, like Saraswati mentioned, number of organizations. And finally, I would say that these return to work programs, we have created basically a pipeline. In fact, VMware Tara was the first one with Women Who Code. So there are a number of organizations that support Women Who Code, and that pipeline is made available even before you complete. So we certainly are looking forward to, and there are so many organizations that promote diversity, and often the women are hesitant to come back. So my suggestion is that those of you who are aware of people who want to come back, and if you can Hari, if you can also put the link for women to subscribe to it. So those some may be here in this meeting, and the link can be used by, those of you present here can forward it to your friends who want to be part of this mentoring group. And then we need support in multiple ways, right? Some of you may be well placed and want your organization to leverage these resources. That is one. You can help people, prepare up their CVs or do mock interviews or provide technical mentoring. So you can contribute in multiple ways, and that is what this RISE, the 2 nomination forms are. One is for volunteering in multiple ways, contributing. Another is for RISE nomination. So like Saraswathi said, we are starting on October 18th, which means we are on one hand mapping the skill set of the people and the interests, what you want to do, those who are nominating themselves, form up the badges, assign the mentors and the SMEs, etc. So that is what we want to do over next 2 weeks or so. So please do spread the word and get the right nominations. This will help us to make this first batch successful, and we are really looking forward to a lot.
Yeah,
and
thank you
coming
so
to
much.
bank, bank is very, very supportive of second careers and bringing women back. So that is certainly one of the options. There are many other options.
Yeah, I think, each of us might be coming from a different background. So I think it's important that we spread the word. While there might be just few folks who are actually interested to go through this program in this meeting today, there are multiple others, like I said, who just want to understand what is going on, right? But from all of those others, I would request, please spread the word, because this is such a wonderful opportunity which is made available.
And Saraswati, I know we called out that people can ask questions, but it's a very small group, 25 people mostly. It is okay to, take turns and talk about what each one of you are looking forward to in this kind of program.
Yeah, I think we can hear from all of you too.
Hi, ma'am. This is Amisha. I would like to talk.
Hey, hi, Amisha.
Yeah, actually, I do have experience into different domain. Actually, I was into HR executive. So I took a break for my kid for 3 to 4 years. So I just want to change my, career into tech. Actually, I'm a BTech graduate. So I just want to try into, software side. Is it possible through this program?
It is possible, Amisha, and just that the level of investment needed from your side might be a little more, since you have looked at a non-tech kind of a role earlier, right? But then
of course.
we definitely look at what are those skills you could pick up, and then look at some light tech role training that could be provided, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. Actually, I tried already, because the MNC companies are looking for freshers or who are having experience into only software. That's what my doubt actually. Yeah.
Okay. See, from an enabling perspective, definitely we are open, Amisha. And then, in terms of looking at the last piece where we can provide that opportunity to network, absolutely yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Amisha, just adding a point here. Yeah. So based on my experience, I would say there might also be internal opportunities within the company wherein you can transition from one role to the other. And that might be something, again, worth exploring. Right? Even from a non-technical profile to a technical profile, like a lot of companies have these upskilling opportunities internally, or even if, let's say, you're using this program, there might be opportunities to interview within the same company in a technical role, and that might be also a good thing to try out.
Okay. Yeah, but Baani, I think Amisha is on a break currently, right? So are you still working, Amisha?
No, I'm not working as of now.
Right. That's what I understood. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Yep, I would just want to add on that thank you so much, Saraswathi, for taking a lead on this, and really looking forward to this program and the impact it will create.
Yeah, absolutely, Baani. And it's all through word of mouth. I think today we have a
True.
smaller number. I think, I would really urge this group to spread the word more and more, because we have a very passionate set of volunteers, trainers, all geared up. And it's for, if we could just match it with folks who really would benefit from this program, I think, our job is done, right? So that's the request to all of you in this call today.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Saraswati. This is Neha. And
Hey.
thanks for organizing this. So I have 5-year experience in .NET, and I have worked in SQL Server and data analytics also. So I have seen
Excellent.
2 courses here. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go on, Neha.
Yeah. So I have seen 2 courses here. One is for .NET and the other one is for Hadoop. So which one is good for me? So how I should decide that which one is good for me and how to apply for these courses and how I will get mentoring for. So this is my.
That's a great question, Neha. I think, even while people apply, I think there might be some level of mentorship that is required. I think you're bringing up a very good point. Maybe we need some kind of an offline discussion with you, Neha, and then maybe we could understand. Obviously, there are 2 aspects, right? One, maybe, somebody could say, hey, you have done .NET, so that might be the best bet. So you've done a little bit of analytics too, but then, your strength seems to be this, so go for it. But I think a lot of it also depends on your own interest, right? So see, these are like 3 or 4 fungible skills that we have looked at, where we do see there are lots of opportunities in the industry, right? So it's not as if you would lose out if you pick one over the other, but ultimately it's about what really interests you, right? And now is the time when you're thinking about another innings, that really listen to what you're interested in and then take that up, right? So that's what I would say. But we can share our numbers for you to maybe further talk to us and then decide on what you should be looking at, some kind of advice.
Okay, thank you.
Adi, can you share some of our phone numbers of the core group folks, so that if people want to talk to us and then decide, I think absolutely we can do that.
Sure, Saraswathi.
Any other question, team?
Hi, Saraswati. This is Yash here. Just want to say that this is fantastic forum and a lot of opportunities for women. And definitely, as you said, right, so we'll bring more and more referrals, more and more people who we know who are looking for such opportunities. But would like to thank you to come up with this initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Yash. And definitely, I think you've been a great volunteer, and so have been so many other folks who have worked behind the scenes to ensure that we're all set, right? Because we could have done it in 2-3 ways. We would have just first launched it and then worried about what we need to do at the back end basis, how many people sign up. But instead, we chose to do a very well prepared launch, so that we actually know who are the trainers, what we would be doing, and all that. And thanks to a lot of volunteers who have really helped on this one. And like I said, now it's about really ensuring that people benefit from it.
Right. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Yash. Any other question or comment?
Hello, Saraswati ma'am. Hi. Am I audible, ma'am? My name is Rajani.
You are, Shrivani. Go on.
It's a nice program you guys are started, and it's so nice to every woman who wants to return to their career aspects. It's so nice actually. When I heard about it, I was so excited to join and see what you guys are going to share. So as a layman, I'm also like Amisha, I'm also having a HR background. So see how we'll come to know which kind of courses will be suitable for us, and what will be the durations and all, how we'll
Right.
go about it.
Right. I hear you, Srivani. So I think since this question about what is more suitable is coming up, maybe we should meet up in a smaller forum where we can take up these in further detail, right? Because there are two ways to look at it. There could be some non-tech roles within IT that we could immediately look at, just proliferating your resumes and then looking at how we can make some opportunities available. And then the second is light tech, or some tech courses from within those four that we have spoken about, or anything else that could be more meaningful. Look at that and then get going with it, right? So I think maybe this does merit a separate one-on-one detailed discussion, Hari. Like I said, some of us could sign up as mentors for each one of those and guide through what makes sense right now.
Okay. I think so. Yes. So when are you planning these sessions, one-on-one sessions? Any?
Early next week we could do that, Srivani.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Srivani. Anyone else? Any question, comment? Anything else that other volunteers want to add?
So once we get the data for all the interested people, Saraswati will, as you said, right? I think it will be a good idea to have one-on-one connect to understand what the requirement is, and then we can work with them on the courses.
Right. So I think that's a good point, Yash. So would request all of you to fill in that nomination form. For example, if you've just had HR experience, just go ahead and put that out there. And I'm sure there is also that contact number field in there, right? Is there a way we can reach out after this? Once that is done, while I said Srivani earlier, early next week, so maybe we'll wait for a while, for a week, and then consolidate all the nominations and then start the outreach where we will, maybe one mentor can talk to each person and then further figure out what makes sense out of these courses.
Sure, ma'am. It's excellent, actually, because everybody is having different kind of needs. Nobody.
Correct.
Everybody doesn't have technical backgrounds. They won't be suitable for each and every what you guys have shared.
Right.
I think
right.
So.
Right.
So, do you have any non-technical related things also?
So we have not looked at that quite a bit yet, because women who code, obviously the intent is to how do we encourage more women towards technology careers, right? But having said that, today there are lots of things that a tech organization would do from, say, an application management standpoint or a change management standpoint, which would be, in my mind, light tech, right? And those could be some of the opportunities that could be enabled through some trainings. But again, we will have to look at it. Like you said, the needs of each person could be very different. So once we get all those details, then we'll figure out what is the best way to go about the training, Srivani.
Sure. Thanks. Thank you so much. Looking forward to talk to you and soon.
Same here. Anything else, team?
Hey, hi Saraswati. This is Prasanna here.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm from GRT space. So I have a question regarding the nomination. So as per this discussion, Women Who Code, is it something for the people who are already having a technical experience and they went for a break and they want to resume back their career schedule? Is it something like the notion of this event, or
That is
do you have
correct, Prasanna. That is the original intent, but then as we are going through this, we also realize that there could be a couple who who are on a break, who have been working earlier, but maybe they have not been core techies, right? So now that is one other thing that we will try and address as we go through taking the nominations and then looking at what can be enabled. But the original intent is that whatever you just mentioned.
Okay. Yeah, got it, Saraswati. Thank you.
Any other questions? If no other questions, we can close the meeting here, but obviously a lot of traction needs to happen basis spreading the word, the Google form. Once we get more details from all of you, that's when, some action would start, and maybe we'll give it a week for all this to crystallize, and then we'll pick it up from there. So Renu, Baani, do you want to add anything as closing comments? All right, then if there is nothing else, we can close the meeting. Thanks everyone for participating today, and thanks to all the volunteers.
Sure. Thank you all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
ఇప్పుడు 6 గంటలు సరే వచ్చేసి